What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon and you are back in the Gilstrap garage. Today I got my Dyna back up on the lift for some maintenance. I got oil draining right now, but I'm gonna try to get in and be pretty thorough because I got a trip coming up at the end of August that I want to take. So I'm gonna pull the primary off, pull the primary cover off, and I'm gonna be checking my compensator, my chain. I'm gonna adjust my clutch, make sure that's all good to go, because when I start it up I hear a little bit of a chatter, and I think it might be that chain slapping around, so I'm gonna make sure my tensioner's okay. I've got Galfer rotors that I'm putting all the way around because when I went to Sturgis last year, my back rotors got super hot and I haven't changed them. And honestly, because I've been so busy working on bikes, I haven't really even got to ride that much. But I'm gonna be doing front and rear new Galfer rotors, checking pads, cleaning everything really well. I'm gonna do a compression test. I'm gonna do all kinds of tests and just make sure that this thing is gonna be safe to ride across country if I get the opportunity to. So oil's draining right now, pulling the primary off, that's the next step. So on this compensator, I do see a little bit of wear. Sitting right here, it doesn't really look excessive, but I think to be safe, I'm gonna pull it off and check it out, make sure there's not any deep gouges. I mean, these compensators are a wear item. I've got about just under 30,000 miles on the bike now. It's not unreasonable to say that it's gone out or it's going out. So better safe than sorry. I'm gonna pull it off, check it out, and if I do need to replace it, I'm gonna hope that a dealership around here has one, but that's not likely. So on these late model tensioners, the automatic tensioners, you're gonna need a couple zip ties, and you're gonna feed these in. All right, so as I was saying, you wanna take a couple zip ties and wrap them around the shoe of this tensioner and the bottom side of the bracket. So when you take these bolts out, it doesn't spring open on you, because then it's gonna be really difficult to get back in. See, I came out, it's still nice and intact. I'll be able to slide it back in. My shoe's wearing a little bit. I probably be replacing that too. Well, I think actually I have to replace this whole assembly. But I'm in there. I wanna go far. I wanna do some distance, and I wanna not have to worry about it. So I don't recommend putting a chrome socket on an impact, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I gotta put this locking tool in there to keep the compensator, keep the engine from spinning over pretty much, because these bolts are really tight. Yep, so check it out, guys. You can kind of see the nice shiny color on there. This is wearing pretty good. Here's this section of it. See those nice shiny wear marks on there. Just spends its whole life going back and forth. And I mean, they're designed to wear. Make a couple phone calls and see where I can hunt one of those down at. I cannot believe it. Death Valley Harley Davidson, aka Victorville Harley Davidson, has my parts in stock. They've got the compensator assembly and they've got the tensioner. So good news. This tensioner, it's really not that bad. I'll probably keep it on the shelf for somebody that's in like a big pinch. The compensator might have a little life in it, but I don't think so, because when I'd start the bike up, I'd hear just a nasty chatter, and I'm assuming that's what it's from. It would go away after, after it started catching up to speed a little bit. But I think with just that initial start, that thing was rocking back and forth, making a crazy noise. So I get to replace those, and I get to replace them quick. I don't gotta wait for parts. I'm super stoked about that. So I'm gonna move on now, I think, to my clutch adjustment. Might as well do that. That was about, I don't know, 3/4 of a turn out, maybe a turn, so not far off from where I had adjusted it last time. You want to see how this clutch assembly works out? Okay. Press, you want to see too?
Yeah.
So this is your clutch lever. You have your cable that runs down here. It goes to the other side and it goes into a cover on the transmission. And it's got a little actuator in there. It's called a throwout bearing. So it'll move in. Actually, when you pull the clutch, it's got a little ramp on it. Kind of like this actually, where it'll slide up and it'll put pressure on it. That pressure, what's up? It's not that sharp. I mean, a little sharp. But that throwout bearing connects through a rod to a rod. It pushes on a rod that goes all the way through from the transmission, and it sticks out here right behind this plate, right?
Whose bike is this?
Why is everyone all tripping about my police bike?
Who's this up? Is that guy's down
It's, yeah, Wes is down the street. Okay, so that rod connects just to the back side of this. So essentially, when you squeeze your lever, it pushes on it, and it pushes all these little plates apart that are in here, and it disengages the engine from the transmission.
I saw it come apart.
Yeah. This adjustment on the cable right here, when you run that out, it changes how much play you have in here, and that's essentially going to change how much that throwout bearing in there gets pulled on. If you don't have it adjusted far enough, if it's too sloppy, then when you pull it out, it won't disengage it all the way, so your bike will still roll if you pull in the clutch lever. If you got it too far, then it'll put too much pressure on it. You can break your clutch cable. I actually broke one when I was on the way back from Sturgis because I had it too tight.
Is that what the other guy did?
Yep, those are the IE baggers. Help me out. All right, now I'm gonna pull off my oil filter and hope that I don't make a mess.
That looks like a magnifying glass.
Oh, just an oil filter wrench.
It's a weird looking wrench.
You see how it works?
Yeah.
When you pull on it, it'll like bite on the filter a little bit and spin it on.
We're gonna have our own Harley business together.
That's right. This is the Gilstrap Garage, baby. Family owned and operated.
Wait, when is another car show instead of this one?
Another car show? Grandma's birthday. So, Grandma asked if you guys could go to breakfast with her on her birthday, and we're totally going to breakfast with her. But she doesn't know, it's a surprise.
Did we say, no, we're good?
Yeah, Mom felt super bad yesterday, like, no, I can't. So, my mom will watch this after her birthday comes out. We're sorry for not telling you that we're going to breakfast with you.
It's a surprise.
We know that you feel bad, Mom, but it's okay. She's turning 25.
I was like, what?
Girl, you know what that means? That means in just over, a little bit over a year, like a year and a half, I'm gonna be 30.
No.
You know what it means when I turn 30? You're turning 10. All the responsibility you're gonna have, oh no. I guess we gotta wear damn mask again too.
Because I'm not going on the roller coaster. What was it,
I don't know how much torque I lose with that big old long extension on there doing the drain plug bolt, but I always give it a couple extra pounds. I put myself in the middle of the torque reading, So, you know, it'll give you plus or minus or whatever. I like to put myself in the middle, and then I give it a little extra. I go on the higher side when I got a long extension on there because you do lose torque through your long extensions. Some people would want to hang me for this. I've always ran mineral oil in my Dyna. I don't run synthetic. And after talking to the guy that does my cranks and everything, it gets hot about people that run synthetic oil, because he said he will put it up against anyone, anything, that synthetic oil will swell your crank pin. So if you ever got to get your crank pressed apart, it'll be swollen. He said like up to 2 thousandths. He's got a giant press that he uses to pop that thing apart. But he said if you run mineral oil, that crank pin does not swell. So I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I do enough maintenance on my bike. I monitor it enough. I do frequent enough oil changes. I don't run no 5,000 miles on my oil, where that's fine.
Is that sponsored?
80, no, I wish I had sponsors. 85 140 in the transmission. I like Bel Ray oil. Go off in the comment section if you want. Whatever, my bike's running fine. This is what I'm gonna keep running. Engine oil is topped off. Well, can't check it quite yet to be exact because it's got to be on the kickstand. Transmission oil is topped off. I think I'm gonna pull the back wheel right now, and I'm gonna start doing my brakes. I'm also going to evacuate all the fluid out of my master cylinders and top it off with fresh fluid. Again, go off if you want. I don't flush my system all the way through because I do that every year. Not every 2 years like Harley recommends. I just evacuate what's in the master cylinder, top it off. It's gonna get a little contaminated with some of the fluid that's, you know, in the brake lines and in the caliper. I haven't had any problems. But then again, I know how often I'm doing maintenance. If a customer came to me, I would flush their system all the way through. I would bleed all of the fluid out. But then again, that's because a lot of times I don't know how often maintenance has been done on some of these bikes that come through. So. Because of my D&D exhaust, I don't have easy access to my axle. So I undo the shocks and I'll lower the frame down, which will push the swing arm up essentially. I will lift the bike back up with the tire free and roll it out. This will be easier to roll out than the soft tail that I did because I don't have a big old long fender. I got my wheel off. I'm gonna pop these out, pop these bolts out. I'm gonna clean up the rim real good while it's off. It's gonna kill me reusing these button head bolts instead of some nice 12-point hardware or something, but baby steps. You can see, look how blue that thing got. I mean, this rotor got hot. I'm telling you, I could feel like it's soft. It's kind of gouged, a little worn in some, it may even be warped, a little worn in some spots more than others, it seems like. But I'm glad I finally got the Galfers that I've been wanting. I'm gonna clean up all the dirt and stuff around my bearings so I can monitor those and make sure, you know, they're not leaking or anything. Got that back rotor on. I still haven't torqued down the axle. I just pulled out my old brake fluid though. That's only a year old and it's ugly like that. But I got some new stuff there, more than enough new stuff right there that I'm gonna put in there. And I had a bit of a hard time. My wheel shifted as I was pulling out the back axle and I had my shocks and everything off. So I had to bolt the shocks back up and take the cone off of the D&D. And that pointed out something obvious to me. I'm missing a mounting bracket down there. Looks like some stuff's come loose. So I'll be getting that tightened up and just working through the motions. I got my compensator assembly. Here's the old one. Here's the new one. What I wish you guys could see is if you run your finger along this groove or along this ramp right here, you can kind of feel a groove worn in there that isn't so extreme on the new one. The torque on this guy is high. You want to make make sure that your chain is not hanging below the bottom of the inner primary, because it'll push down, and as it pulls in, it'll bind up underneath that primary. Whew. Make you bust out in a nervous sweat. That new compensator came with these little plastic pieces, and I read the instructions to see what they were because these were not on the bike. And they want you to take some kind of silicone, some kind of sealant, and they want you to glue and clip these into your outer primary as an oil deflector. There's no chance that I'm gonna do that. That's one more piece in there that could come loose and go flying off and get caught up in all that. I don't know if it was some kind of recall. I don't know why it's a mod, but I'm not putting that in there. That's trash. Before I did the compensator, I got that bolt taken care of on the exhaust mount, and a little sketchy. I was going to tighten the bolt. You know, I just stuffed a new one in there with some Loctite and started tightening it down, and it didn't feel good. So I pulled it out, and then I chased the threads, cleaned everything up, and it threaded in. I was scared to go too tight torquing it. If it backs out again, then I'm just gonna have to helicoil it. And then I spent some time this morning putting on these 12-point bolts, this ARP hardware on the cam chest. And I think it was kind of a waste of time because I don't really like it. I'm gonna run it for a little bit and see, but it just kind of doesn't flow while I still got all this stock hardware on there. Like that one little piece accented, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm gonna pull my air cleaner off right now, and I'm not trying to get flagged on YouTube here. I'm gonna pull my air cleaner off and clean that, and while that's drying, I'm gonna pull the bike off of the lift and clean up a little bit and pull my front wheel off and do my front rotors. And I think I'm gonna bleed. My lever pulls in a little further than I like. I have a newish vacuum tool. I'm gonna try to see if I can get those a little bit tighter. Well, that's how the Galfers turned out. It is still filthy. I gotta throw my air cleaner on. I'm gonna give it a good wash. I spent so much time messing around with those ARP bolts on the cam chest cover, and I completely forgot that I gotta do fork seals on this thing. But this is gonna be my only transportation for a little bit because my truck is broke. But yeah, that's just gonna have to wait. I can't risk not having, you know, transportation. So I'm gonna wash it up, and then probably by the end of next week, I'll be able to do those fork seals. An update for the people that are gonna ask, I just started up the Dyna, and that chatter at the startup is gone. So compensator worked. I'd also forgot to drop in the video. I know I said I was going to do a compression test and scope the cylinders and everything. So I ran the compression test and was really happy with the results. That's my dog barking in the background. Here's a picture of the front cylinder, and here's a picture of the rear cylinder, and these things are both identical. Like, normally I see them where they're 5, sometimes even like 10 psi off, especially the front normally being a little stronger because it typically runs cooler, but they're spot on. I'm stoked with that. And then I ran in and scoped the cylinders, and here's a picture of that front and rear. I still have really nice cross hatching. There's a little carbon buildup on top of the pistons, which I'm not that concerned about it, but really happy with the overall health of my engine. My only problem is I know I got kind of crazy run out. I'm at like 8 thousandths. One day I'm gonna build my motor and get that down to like 1,000, but that day will come. I also checked my fuel pressure, and my fuel pressure is pretty much right where it should be. I'm about at the point where I should be changing the fuel filter for the service mileage, but my fuel pressure is still really good. That'll be something that comes at a later date. I'm not going to jump on that right now. You know what, too? I still got to bleed the brakes. I'm still going to bleed the brakes right now, but this video's gone long enough. If you guys like that video, a thumbs up is always appreciated. If you got any questions, drop a comment down below. And if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And I will see you guys in the next video.